Who is the Batman? Now that's a very interesting question, because if you go through many of the Batman movies, whether it be Tim Burton, Christopher Nolan, Zack Snyder, the big question in every movie is, who's under the mask? Who's under the cowl? Who is the Dark Knight? Now, of course, we know as an audience who is the Batman, but right now, do we know exactly who is the Batman in the DC universe? Very interesting question, because the internet seems to be going a little bit crazy. And look, my viewpoint of all this is that it's a little bit of a mess in terms of the words that have been used, and a little bit of a mess from that New York Times article that really wasn't so clear. And this comes from DC as a whole. This is actually a great symbol of how big of a mess DC is, how big that Walter Hamada and Toby Emmerich are so distanced from what the audiences actually know about this universe. Look at Marvel. We know who Thor is, we know who Captain America is, we know who the next Captain America is. They have a detailed outline plan. Now, I love the multiverse idea, I really love it, but who exactly is the Batman? Now, this New York Times piece came out with Walter Hamada, of course, talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League being a cul-de-sac and all that kind of stuff. Now, the journalist who wrote that article, who conducted that interview, has made a really big mess here right now. You know, the article said that the Batman was getting two cinematic versions, two universes that were separate from each other, and it kind of looked at Robert Pattinson as its own Batman thing with Matt Reeves, which it is, but also somebody else as the Dark Knight, maybe in the larger DCEU that interacts with the Justice League, because Ben Affleck, that's what people tell you, he's never coming back to the role, even though he's coming back in March. Now, it was misinterpreted that Michael Keaton would be taking over as Batman for Ben Affleck in the DCEU. He would get his own movie. He would be the head man over Justice League. He would take over for Ben Affleck. And in the end, guys, how much sense does that really make? You know, Ben Affleck, yeah, pushing 50. But man, he's in great shape. He could still be the Batman. But Michael Keaton is 69 years old. He's going to be 71 or 72 by the Flash movie even comes out. He is not going to be the head Batman in the DCEU. Now, I love this. It's a great time to be a Batman fan. Ben Affleck's coming back in March. He'll be in the Flashpoint movie. Michael Keaton will be in the Flashpoint movie. Robert Pattinson will probably get a trilogy as a Dark Knight with Matt Reeves. Great time. Absolutely astonishing. Great stuff as a fan. If you don't like one, watch the other. If you don't like that one, watch the other. It's great. I'll watch all three because look, I'm a Batman fanboy. I'll watch Batman do anything. But it was just a big mess online and people were losing their shit. You know, they really were. Now, let's start with Robert Pattinson, okay? So Robert Pattinson will be the Batman in 2022. March 2022 is the release date for that. Matt Reeves is the director. From what I can see, it's its own standalone universe. It's a Batman trilogy. Penguin, Joker, all those characters will be introduced. It's its own thing, very much like the Christopher Nolan world. Now, could Robert Pattinson make a cameo in the Flashpoint movie? Of course. Could Flash make a cameo? Of course. That could happen because it's a multiverse world we're living in. And also, the Flashpoint sets up these possibilities. Okay, now let's just put that to the side. Robert Pattinson ain't going anywhere as the Dark Knight, and I can't wait for that. That trailer is pretty badass. Now let's go to Ben Affleck. Now, Ben Affleck before was Batman and Batman v Superman. Did Justice League with Zack Snyder. Justice League was a big mess. Josh Whedon came in. Ben Affleck lost his love for the role. Also personal shit going on as well that he had to deal with. But Zack's vision is being restored, and that's coming out in March. So technically, Ben Affleck is coming back as Batman. Now, Zack is back in control. That vision is back in control. Ben has also signed on to be in the Flashpoint movie as a cameo. Now, how big? I don't know. How big, how small, we don't have a clue. We probably won't know until the actual movie comes out. But it's pretty badass that he's coming back. Maybe it's closure for his character, or maybe it's closure for his character in the extended DCU on the big screen as a theatrical Batman. Maybe there's room for him to come back on HBO Max. Now, if Zack Snyder's Justice League is a success, if it's a huge hit, I think number 2 and number 3 could be greenlit very, very quickly after it comes out. And I think Ben Affleck would come back to fulfill the vision of Zack Snyder in 2 and 3. I think he would do that out of respect for Zack Snyder. I think he would come back as Batman in that capacity. But do I see Ben Affleck as a theatrical Batman with his trilogy or his movies coming out on the big screen? I don't see that because Robert Pattinson has that role to himself. He is the theatrical Batman. But Ben Affleck, for me, is definitely going to come back if it's a success. I believe that. Could a Batfleck series happen? Absolutely. All these things are possibilities, guys. Now, they look so far away right now, but if Zack Snyder's Justice League is a huge hit, if it's a Game of Thrones hit, if it's Avengers Endgame hit, that kind of capacity with online buzz, which it already is, because every time Zack Snyder talks about it or drops an image, the internet goes pretty fucking crazy. So let's just wait for March. Let's see how big of a hit that is. Now, Walter Hamada, of course, is the big DC guy over there, isn't he? He's the guy who's the head man. But then again, Jason Kilar, the main guy at HBO Max, calls the shots. He's one of the big reasons that Zack Snyder's Justice League is coming to HBO Max. And if that's a success, he would be stupid not to want more. And he is a fans-driven man. You see any of his articles, he used the word fan so many times. He wants to interact and give the fans exactly what they want. So do I think Ben Affleck will portray Batman again with Zack Snyder? I absolutely do. Could we get a Batfleck series? Big possibility. But if I want to put money on it right now, I'm going to go with Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 is where we see Ben Affleck come back. Could we get closure in the Flashpoint movie? Of course we could. But guys, money talks. Success talks. If the Batman's a hit, a number 2 will come. If Zack Snyder's Justice League is a hit, number 2 will come. If the Suicide Squad is a hit, number 2 will come with James Gunn. You understand? Let's wait until these things come out and see how successful or unsuccessful they are. Now let's move on to Michael Keaton, 69 years old. Played the Batman with Tim Burton in 2 very controversial movies, but very successful movies. A big change from the Adam West days, but it worked. It gained box office, it gained success, and Michael Keaton still today regarded as the best Batman of all time. Things changed for the 3rd movie he left and Val Kilmer and George Clooney took over. But Michael Keaton more or less is confirmed to come back in the Flashpoint movie in a bigger role than we might have expected. Now, how big is the overall plan for Michael Keaton in the DC universe? Now, would Michael Keaton just come back for a big cameo, for one last hurrah as the Dark Knight? I don't know. I think, and a lot of people are saying this is going in the direction of a Batman Beyond film with not Terry McGinnis, the guy who played the character in the animated series, but that's exactly where Batgirl comes into it, and Batgirl will be the new Terry McGinnis as in Batman Beyond. Now, in that Walter Hamada article, he talked about the riskier projects going to HBO Max in terms of a Static Shock or Batgirl. So could we get a Batman Beyond series with Michael Keaton as the mentor Batman to Batgirl? That is a big possibility as well. Would that end up as a theatrical release or would that be on HBO Max? Very interesting stuff. And if you look at Michael Keaton in the comic book genre, he plays Vulture in the MCU Sony world of Spider-Man. He first appeared in Homecoming. He is now going to be in Morbius with Jared Leto. And will he be in Spider-Man 3 or Doctor Strange 2, the Multiverse of Madness? It's interesting that Michael Keaton didn't just sign up for one role, one shot in the MCU universe. He's coming back for more. So this would make me think that he's not just coming back for a one-off appearance in the DC universe. He wants more with the character, and maybe that eyes to Tim Burton coming back as a director for the Batman Beyond series or as an overall creative producer, maybe. But guys, I wouldn't get so annoyed. I wouldn't get so upset. We're getting 3 Batmans. Ben Affleck is coming next in March. Then in March, later we have Robert Pattinson coming in 2022. And then the Flashpoint movie whenever that gets to start filming and coming out. So 3 Batman in the space of a year and a half or 2 years even is pretty darn cool. But does this mean that Ben Affleck is finished? He's done as the Batman and Michael Keaton is replacing him? Not at all. That was just a big mess of misinformation and people not clarifying what exactly they mean. And that comes from Walter Hamada himself. He's a guy at DC who announces these movies like he's playing a game and half of them don't even get made. That's a big problem with DC projects. So don't believe it until you see it, guys. That's my motto with DC movies. At least with Marvel, if they announce a movie, it's probably going to happen and you'll probably see it within a year or two. But Michael Keaton isn't replacing Ben Affleck as the Batman in the DC universe. He isn't going to be the leader of the Justice League. He isn't going to be the big Batman in the big screen world. He's not. That's not what's happening. When they referred to 2 Batmans in that article, It was referring to the ones that have already been confirmed. It's been confirmed that Robert Pattinson will be Batman in The Batman. It's been more or less confirmed that Michael Keaton will be coming back in Flashpoint. Those are the two confirmed Batmans. Ben Affleck is the one who said he was done in the role, but is technically coming back in March for the Snyder Cut. But that's a movie that was filmed years ago. So in that article, when they refer to two Batmans, it's talking about the two other Batmans. It's not talking about Ben Affleck's Batman being replaced, or being done, or being finished. We already kind of know that. But the misconception that Michael Keaton will be the DCEU Batman. He will be interacting with Jason Momoa, with Wonder Woman, with Cyborg, with The Flash. Long term in the DC universe makes no sense and will not be happening. Maybe it will happen in the Flashpoint movie. Of course, anything can happen. Linda Carter can show up. Nicolas Cage can show up. Like, who knows at this stage? But don't get worried. It's not happening in the way that's been conceived online. Michael Keaton is Batman in Flashpoint and maybe a Batman Beyond. Robert Pattinson is Batman in his own world, own trilogy on Earth 2. And Ben Affleck, big possibility he could come back in Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. He'll be in The Flash and maybe more. Let's wait and see. But guys, what did you think of all the mess yesterday online about who is the Batman? It was kind of funny to see people lose their shit and say, I'm boycotting Warner Bros. I ain't watching this shit. Man, I'm watching all three of these guys kick ass as the Batman. I don't care what's happening. I'm going to watch them. I'm going to enjoy all the movies, all the shows, whatever comes, I'm going to enjoy it. And guys, remember, Jason Kilar now is the main guy at DC. He really is. He's the guy over at HBO Max. He answers to AT&T. And if he says, I want Justice League 2 because it's bringing huge engagement to HBO Max, then that will be greenlit and Ben Affleck will be back. If Ben Affleck wants to come back, it's up to Ben Affleck at the end of the day, guys. But I'm sure if Zack Snyder's Justice League is a success and people show him how much they love him as the Dark Knight, he'll be tempted to come back. But guys, give a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Big mess, but guys, I hope I cleared up some of it for you guys. Which one are you looking forward to most? Guys, watch all three of them. It's the Batman, for God's sake. Have a good day.